Welcome back to Mzansi. We're back again. It is that time of the night where we have to take you through what happened in this case. It is the case that we are all interested in, and I hope that you are also interested as much as we are, and the journey with you and me. It's blurry, but we are going together. I can tell you that you are not alone. Stay with us. We will stay with you. Press that like button and make sure that everything that you need to check before we start is on. So, Emily, it's greetings to me. It was rather one hell of cross-examination, and I don't know, man. For some reason, I am more pissed at Ramsipil. But wow. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Let's continue. And let's see what happened in court.
Hi everyone, Mehlomadala.
Yes.
It's been a while. Now I had to rest. I must first explain. I was going through some kind of a tiredness. And then another thing is that going through Brigadier Gininda's evidence is a lot for me because he talks a lot, he wonders, oh my God, blah, 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 over explaining and everything doesn't make sense. And then, it's a lot. But then I had to cover it all for you guys, and I hope you appreciate it, and I hope that you stay tuned so that we go through this together. And on top of everything else, please guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And for everyone who's returning, namugela. Thank you so much for joining us here again. I'm going to start from the beginning. The lead investigator, Brigadier Bongani Gininda, was back on the stand today for further cross-examination under Ramusepeli. And when the proceedings eventually started, because they had to wait for the accused to arrive, and accused number 4 was the last one to arrive, Advocate Mnisi said that in the testimony of Brigadier Gininda, apparently there's a statement that was penned by Mr. Steyn. He asked that they be furnished or refurnished with that statement from Steyn about the communication between Kelly Khumalo and accused number 3 so that he can take further instructions. I forgot what had happened with Steyn being recalled and coming back. I had actually forgotten that he's the one who linked the accused number 3 with Kelly Khumalo, but then it was just left hanging.
Where did he link it?
There's a table that he was talking about. You guys, you remember that part of the evidence? I think we even talked about it. We even analyzed it. We even deliberated on it. And to us, the connection didn't sound quite connecting.
I don't remember it. I'm not going to lie to you.
You don't remember it?
I don't remember us deliberating on the table that was connecting accused number 3. I remember accused number 3 being exonerated in that part. I remember that part. But I
know he was recalled. And the second time he recalled, he added that extra teeny bincy wince of information somewhere. I felt like maybe I'm hallucinating, but then I was like, no, but maybe he did.
Where did you get it?
Because I kind of remember something being mentioned about Kelly Khumalo in contact with accused number 3, but it wasn't substantiated. It didn't have substance.
So you also don't know where it happened?
I need to look at it. Guys, forgive me. I'll need to revisit that part of evidence because I feel like now I'm being made... I feel like I'm going crazy.
I don't remember accused number 3 being matched or being mapped at all. At all. If Baloyi had that information,
he would have
finished it.
He would have
yes.
hammered on it.
Yes.
He would have made sure that it is spoken about on a daily, consistent basis.
Yes.
Maybe I was dreaming, guys.
No, I don't remember. That's the thing with Gininda when he's testifying.
Is he going through this man's
Nisi says he does not have that.
He said he Gininda was saying that Steyn is the one who said it.
Yeah.
And then now they're asking him for a statement. where Steyn said that.
He's going to look for it. And Baloyi would have found it for him. There is no such. It's like this thing of blood, DNA. Yes.
Yo, did you hear how he was trying to twist it?
It's all,
he was trying to force it. He was trying to make the.
You are saying he's trying. In a short while, you're gonna be saying, I think they were included.
I think they were inclusive. Thank goodness I understand DNA and how it works. Thank goodness, because I would have also been like, oh, maybe it's onto something. Like I am with this link between accused number 3 and Kelly Khumalo that somehow just. It sounded like new evidence while he was saying it on Friday. But then now he's mentioning that Steyn said it. And I'm like, but maybe he said it. Now I feel like I'm losing it.
Yeah, you probably are. I don't remember it. I don't
like Gininda testifying. When he testifies, it just confuses. It just confuses me, guys. I don't enjoy going through his testimony, especially under cross-examination. It's the worst. It's the worst. So many he wishy. I said it.
Yeah, I guess you are as lost.
No, I am lost. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I am very much conflicted and confused. I don't know what is real and what is not real anymore. That's where I'm at. But hopefully after we deliberate, I'll find my anchor and my backbone again, because it's wobbly wobbly. So can you imagine under circumstances where you are now Ntanzi, can you imagine this? You are presented with an identity, a drawing, a sketch, and then you're saying, this is not me, this is mistaken identity. And then they're like, it's you. I truly believe he has that ability to make people do what they don't want to do, in my opinion. That's merely my opinion. Observing from how he's testifying, I feel like he can't take a no.
Yeah.
And he cannot accept it when people don't give him what he wants to hear.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, can you imagine Untanzi Puantanzi there saying, this is not me. This is not me. This is not me on the sketch. This is not me. And this is you. This is you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, he has that ability. Because even now, myself, I've been deliberating this case all along, and I'm thinking, what connection does accused number 3 have with Kelly Khumalo? I don't know if I've heard it or not, but now I'm like, I have to go back to Steyn's evidence, because even Mrs. acting like it's there. So maybe I'm the crazy one.
How is Mrs. acting like that?
Because he's asking for it. I thought it's non-existent, but then with Mrs.
No, he's asking on the sense that he wants him to point to that direction with hey, point me. Where is it?
Okay, so Advocate Baloyi said that they have taken note and will address it offline with Advocate Nisi. I don't know what that means, addressing it offline. What is the statement there or not? It's very simple. But then the judge asked if there was such a statement, and Baloyi said that it is what they're trying to establish. It's difficult as Brigadier Gininda is unavailable and is currently under cross-examination. He has been communicating with the other members of the investigating team to try and establish that. And they are also in the process of establishing that. And they revert to them as soon as they have laid their hands on that information, or at least to give them feedback on that information. So I'm assuming that this is with respect to him not being able to speak to Brigadier Gininda while he's testifying on the stand. Is there such a rule that the prosecutor cannot speak to the witness while they're testifying? Is it court decorum or whatever?
Yeah, there is such a rule. You cannot.
So now he's saying he needs to talk to the other members of the investigating team. But what stuns me is that Mogola was always there on a daily basis. So they're trying to tell me that Mogola is not there currently in court as Brigadier Gininda is testifying. Is that what?
Yeah, that could be the case.
Because she was always there every day on a daily basis. The camera would catch her during break or something, and I'm like, that's her. and then she'd be writing sometimes in the background.
Yeah.
So she's not there.
Yeah, she's not there.
And it also,
she could be there. She's there probably. I don't know. Like I think I saw Gininda in a white shirt yesterday.
then why not bring the statement where Stein said they said all of this?
Because it doesn't exist.
Well, it seems as though
It
all
was
of
still
this,
gonna be May, in my opinion.
Well, the judge asked Mnisi if he was satisfied with the explanation that he got from Advocate Baloyi, and he said that as it pleases the court. So, yeah, sizobona khona if the statement is there or not. Because one thing I know about Advocate Mnisi, he will bring it up. He will not forget. He will bring it up. If that statement is there, they will need to dig it up.
It's not there. There is no statement that said accused number 3 talk to Kelly. There is no statement.
Bam Sugelo staying.
There is no statement that says that. I remember. And that's where they're getting it. They're getting it here because we asked that question.
Well, Ramasepili picked up his cross-examination with the witnesses' statements that talked about the revolver. Gininda started with Stein's statement that related to communication with accused number 3. And he said that what he recalls saying was that there was a briefing given to him by Colonel Stein where he says that there was a link between Ms. Kelly Khumalo and accused number 3.
Do you hear that answer?
He said that he can confirm that the statement is there because he had an opportunity to check. It is in the docket.
Where is it?
That statement is there in the docket.
Where is it?
He said, and I assisted in making sure, or I will assist in making sure that Mr. Mnisi gets it.
Where is it? Simple. If you checked it and you know you have an answer, you did check it. Where is it?
And if it is there, why is it not disclosed?
Exactly.
Why does it have to be mined? I mean, we've been through this with this evidence that keeps coming in piecemeal. Like,
I'm telling you, this is going to come in and it's not going to be there on the defense's papers.
Well, Ramasepili asked about the witness about the statements that was made on the 27th of October 2014 and the gun, the revolver versus the pistol situation. Gininda said that there was a statement deposed by Longwe and Tumelo Madlala, and where they referred to a revolver or a .38 special. And he also said, I have also noted that in the interview that was done by Warrant Officer Steenkamp with Ms. Kelly Khumalo, the issue of a revolver became apparent. In fact, if you look at the interview notes, they seem to suggest that everyone may be given that impression. So he's implying that Warrant Officer Steenkamp did not really do her job properly, that she imposed and put words in the mouths of Longwe Mthokozisi and Tumelo based on what Kelly Khumalo said about the firearm, because Kelly is the one who was direct in her statement to say that this was a revolver, including Longwe as well. So in the statements of Longwe Mthokozisi, in the statements of Mthokozisi and Tumelo Madlala, it was not as direct. But with Tumelo, he said a wheel. For the mere fact that there's a wheel, the firearm with a wheel is a revolver. So that's why Ms. Steenkamp came to that conclusion that the firearm
and
was
everyone else was writing their statement before Gininda came to play.
He's giving me the impression of a lazy investigator.
It's not about laziness for me. It's how statements changed when he came. That's a problem on its own.
So
how people were changing statements all of a sudden and wanting to add something, remove something. Really? So all these years they were waiting for you to change their statements?
And I wouldn't say inability, because I don't think he was unable. I will say the not wanting to look at all the aspects of the docket. You know, choosing what suits a particular narrative. They were intruders. So here is him going out and looking for evidence that supports that, in instead of looking at everything in the docket, including Mr. Hlophe's statement, finding the section 205 of Tumelo Madlala, and seeing if that phone call existed, for example. You understand what I'm saying? Like looking at all the witnesses' testimony and putting it together and investigating and going to ask. Here I am fascinated by a man in court who calls himself an investigator but solely relies on the testimony of a person who's deceased. He would rather use the testimony of a person who's deceased than ask the people that were in the house. Go to them, ask them questions. There's nowhere on record so far as he's testified where he's actually spoken to the people from the house, except for Tumelo Madlala changing his statement and Thokozisi Twala changing their statements in 2018. Did he ever speak to Kelly Khumalo? Did he ever speak to Zandi? Did he ever speak to their mother? Did he ever speak to Mapiri? You understand what I'm saying?
I fully understand you.
It's just like this laziness, or I've made up my mind. Maybe it's not laziness, it's I've made up my mind. This is the narrative, or this is what I'm investigating, and everything else must match with this theory that I've chosen. Allegedly.
My daughter, welcome. We see you. We are just consumed by what is happening in that court, and it would consume anyone. And welcome to membership.
Well, Ramasipili said that Tumelo Madlala in the statement that he deposed on the 27th of October 2014. This is less than 24 hours after the incident, mind you.
Yeah.
The firearm was a 30.38 special. And another statement later, he said that the firearm had a wheel in the middle and did not say a .38 special.
Now, this is where I have a problem with the defense.
Okay.
You have someone who's claiming Tumi is not a specialist. He does not even have a license of a firearm.
Oh my God.
Utmost respect. Okay, we agree, Mr. Gininda. We agree. That is the case, Gininda. Well, the question is, what is a gun that has a wheel in the middle, according to you?
Revolver.
I mean, now we are talking to you as you are correctly pointing out that they say they are not experts, but a wheel does not need an expert.
No.
It's a wheel. Anyone can see a wheel. If there's a wheel, it does not need an expert. Now, here's a wheel being put by Tumi. Now, what is that type of a gun then, according to you as an expert?
A firearm that has a wheel, what is it?
Is there any a pistol that has a wheel?
Is there an AK-47?
Now I'm asking you, I'm not asking Tumi because...
AK-47?
Yes, I'm asking you, I'm not asking Tumi now. I'm asking you because you are correctly pointing out that Tumi is not well vested when it comes to that. According to you, what do you think that gun would be?
So, however, despite that attempt by Tumelo Madlala to distance himself from the initial statement by saying that he did not say that it was a .38 special, there's Exhibit 810 where it's the original statement that Tumelo Madlala did after the incident in 2014 on the 27th. And Ramasipilo is saying that this statement speaks for itself. The supplementary one comes much, much, much later. This is in 2018, after Brigadier Gininda is assigned to handle the matter, according to him.
And this is where I have a problem with them. They are not asking him, why do you think, what is different with you? What psychology nerve did you touch that these people would be able to come and actually change or add in their statements? I mean, it's not wrong to ask that. Since you came, it seems as if just in a short period of time, you have managed to actually get these people to remember what happened during that time and actually even add more information more than when their memories were still fresh.
You know, what was how did you motivate?
How did you get them to reach that level?
Exactly. How did you make them go
By
and
so doing, you
rewrite the
are
entire
pointing
statement?
the obvious, in my opinion. Just by so asking such questions. I don't understand what is this fuss about the defense. This is your job. Once you get into that
Do you think
position,
they're afraid of him?
I think there's a bit of both. You could be afraid of him and trying to be a good lawyer in a wrong time. With Ramsipir is trying to be a good lawyer in a wrong time. If you ask me, he tried to flip the script and talk about let the dog work the tail, not the tail working the dog. I understand that. Well, it's a bit too late. You are almost halfway done with your cross-examination.
It's how he just
You
let
have
him
let
go
this
on.
man blab and be off the script, and you correctly pointing out that you even forget your line of cross-examination and whatever that you wanted to follow up, because he's just blabbing and he's not going to any direction where you want. Before he gives you the answer that you want, he gives you a scenario that is probably not even related to what you want, and that's Gininda for you.
And that is where I felt like this is where I miss Mshololo. I should be able to, Brigadier Gininda, you answer my question. Answer my question.
Respectfully,
Do not
I
deviate.
understand all this information that you are freely giving. Now, here's the question, and I'm going to repeat because it seems as if you don't understand it. Did you do 1, 2, 3 or not? Simple as that.
I need a definite answer, not this paragraph and history book that you are writing for us.
Every time he does that, you must say thank you and start afresh. Ask the question. Here's the question, and I would
need
prefer an
a
answer that
definite
is
answer.
definite, not a history.
Because right now, even
I've given you your time to say your history as you know it, but now here's the answer that I'm looking for.
writing and making sense of your response is another task on its own, and unfortunately I don't have time for that. I just need an answer from you. If you don't have an answer, it's okay to say no comment, or to say you don't, what is it, no comment. Yes, it's no comment. That would be great, but not Brigadier Gininda. He has to showcase his English. He has to make sure
Let
that
me
he
tell you
speaks
the
like an author.
danger of allowing Gininda to speak.
What is the danger?
What kept on pissing me off? It was after it was pointed by, oh my lord, you cannot. Then I started getting irritated more, because these defense should know the law.
I felt like
Baloyi stands up and point that the evidence that is hearsay, if it has been solicited by the defense, and they never do that. That's the thing with Gininda. Gininda does not need you to solicitate such answers. He just brings them randomly.
yes, yes.
Without you even asking about them. He
Yes.
just brings them random. And I think the Stinkum evidence even invited that more. It invited that more. Then this is where I'm gonna need these learned colleagues of law to explain to me that with regards to what Baloyi submitted when he said you came with that, you allowed that hearsay, and then therefore it stands. Where does Rob versus Hepworth fit then? Because it benefits Baloyi in this case, or because it benefits the states. When they made that law, was Rob versus Hepworth there already? Because it seems as if Rob versus Hepworth does not support such things, where because it benefits you, you let it slide, you just allow it. Now, there is a principle that is saying, hey, once you allow that, there is no going back. This is why I don't understand these laws. And I will always say, law is in South Africa. specifically in South Africa, is one hell of a confused thing. You know, it's like we pick and choose what works for you. You know, there is no such a standard way of working things. You pick and choose what works for you. And I will point it out as we go along. Just continue, Emin.
Well, Gininda said that was correct, but it is a fact that Tumelo Madlala is not licensed because he profiled him. He does not have a license to possess firearms. So he says that he does know that when this issue was taken up with him, when he was involved, the assertion from him was that he is not clued up with firearms and he will not be able to distinguish whether it's a revolver or it's this type of firearm. He said that all he could say in this regard is that he's not qualified in terms of the papers. He does not have a license, so he lacks experience. So according to Brigadier Gininda, you need experience with firearms in order to testify in court as a witness on the firearm that you saw.
That's correct. I don't have a problem with that. It's a line of questioning that I have a problem with.
The firearm that you saw.
Lenaka, welcome.
Welcome, Lena. And in order to describe it, you must have a license according to him. But then Mr. Anonymous says he doesn't have a problem with it. I, however, have a problem with it. I have a serious problem with it that now witnesses must be gagged and not be able to testify on what they saw. Sometimes all you need is for a witness to tell you what they saw, and now this part is being discredited in that court live in full color to say that, okay, what you have seen, it doesn't qualify because you need experience to be able to tell the police and the investigators what you saw. You know what I'm saying? Can you feel my vibe of what I'm trying to communicate here? So if you saw a pistol, as long as you don't have a license, you cannot tell the police what type of firearm that you saw. Is that actually an actual rule? Is that an actual law in the courts of South Africa? That if I saw someone committing a robbery and they were carrying a rifle, I cannot say, oh my God, that guy was carrying a big rifle. I cannot say that. I cannot say that as a witness. I cannot. I must be qualified and have a firearm license in order for me to speak on the firearm to say that this is the firearm I saw. I cannot believe what I'm hearing. I honestly cannot believe what I'm hearing. I feel like things are being twisted here. We are being made dunderheads and stupids. We are being made to feel like, you know, we don't know what we're doing, or we don't know. It's literally, it feels like that. It's like, you know how one of our callers would always put it. It would put it perfectly. You know when somebody's pissing on you and they're telling you that it's raining. That's what this feels like, in my opinion. That's my opinion. So, yes, in this matter, we can safely have an opinion, or what is the word that I'm looking for? Speculate that Gininda is kind of assisting in concealing this evidence of a revolver. He's fighting very hard, in my opinion, for the firearm to not be described as a revolver. Okay. But then Ramasipili said that in his statement, he should have said that he was not qualified and that he was making a generic statement. Gininda said yes, but he made 3 or 4 statements. So one would have to check with a microscope view whether he did not clear that information. So now statements have to be looked at with a microscopic view. This is hilarious, in my opinion. It's hilarious. I can't believe what we are subjected to in that court. Advocate Baloyi interjected to say that Tumelo Madlala did testify that he doesn't have knowledge of firearms. He then said that it's better for Ramasipili to relate what is on the statement with the evidence. The witness has since testified and clarified this aspect. So according to Advocate Baloyi, also for a witness to describe what they saw in terms of a firearm used in a crime scene, they need to have a license? Is that what we are being told? Well, Baloyi referred to Tumelo Madlala's testimony in court on the 10th of August 2023 during the cross-examination by advocate khumalo. The statement in part read, "I do not know what a 38 special is. All I know is that I gave a description of a firearm that has a wheel on it." This was Tumelo. Ultimately under cross-examination with khumalo, advocate khumalo, he did make this statement that all he knows is that he gave a description of a firearm that has a wheel on it. That is the description that he gave to the police. And then as far as a .38 special, he said he did not know the firearm. He did not say it was a .38 special. And of course, he did not, The paramount part of Tumelo's evidence here is actually the wheel. There is no other firearm other than a revolver that has a wheel on it. Okay. So that was the paramount. That's what made Steenkamp conclude that it was a revolver. And she's not crazy for doing that. I'd do the same thing.
There is nothing wrong with what Gininda is doing to go and hide there. But there's something wrong with someone not finding a way of getting into Gininda. In a sense, asking proper questions. That's why I have a problem. This...
Oh, they've been this careful.
It's not even about being careful.
What is it?
Ramusipi is not careful.
Timid. Timid.
It's okay. He's like, it's okay. Everything.
No, when you take me to the bushes, I'm in the bushes with you as well. So I'd be like, so you're saying that for a witness to testify, they need to have a license to testify on firearms, on what they saw, not on the specialities of a firearm, but what they saw, what they done seen with their eyes.
I really do not care, but as much as I'm angry to the judge, to the defense also at some point, I feel like, but continue.
He is literally taking
continue.
The right away of
let's
witnesses.
not discuss him, just continue.
Well, Ramasipili said that there is no contestation about what Tumelo Madlala said, and on Friday he even told the witness that Tumelo Madlala said that it was a firearm with a wheel. Today he was just comparing the two statements and what he testified about. So Ramasipili asked him that certain witnesses in the house, Zandi Khumalo, said that she was not an expert in firearms and that she won't be able to describe the firearm. And similarly, Mthokozisi Twala also could not describe the firearm, but Longa Twala is yet to testify in this matter. He also said that the 38 special, and it still stands because Longa Twala is yet to testify on this matter.
This is where you throw shades that are important to actually mark your territory. That you wouldn't be surprised if he comes here also and say, oh, by the way, I don't know what I was saying when I said revolver. Because everything changes under your investigation.
Everything changes.
They can object all they want, but you have said what you want to say.
Well, Gininda said yes, it still stands, but he's in the same boat with Tumelo Madlala and
you
the
see,
people
why
who
are you
in
defending
the
him?
house.
Why are you defending him?
Why are you choosing his side and to believe him?
Why are you defending him without even him being called? You know what is fun about this thing? Baloyi uses statements from Kelly, from Longwe, from many people that have not come to testify.
Yes.
No one says anything. It's
no
okay.
one says anything.
There's no law, no principle that stops him to do that. It's okay in that court. But how alert the judge is when it's the time, are you going to call that person? Are you going to call that? How many people has this judge said, are you going to call these people? Are you going to call these people to Baloyi? And in fact, when he remembered, but Baloyi never called them.
We're still waiting for Lishabani and Sbia.
He never called them, but he used their evidence.
Yes, their evidence.
They are there.
Was used.
So this law of, are you going to call these people? Are you going to call that people? It only applies when it might throw the case out. It just applies. You know, to such an extent that a judge is even making a reference to. This is it, yes, we are going in a slow pace, but there is a part where a judge is saying, was the phone ever in that house? So you are believing the statement of Kaylee without Kaylee coming and saying, yeah, that's what I said, that I lost the phone. You believe everything that is written there. But yeah, listen, when they have to use any statement that seeks to press on the witness, you are there to defend them. You are there to defend them. Are you going to call these people? Are you going to call those people? And now, with their honesty, which I don't understand where it's going to put them. Yeah, I'm not going to call him. Yin, mungambizang nan. Just do what you have to do, bruh. Like, simple, do what you have to do to get this judge off your back, because he's doing this thing on purpose. Do what you have to do.
Now, if I was on my feet like that and I'm ambushed like that, I'd be like, my lord, is there a law that perhaps I missed in my career of law studies that says I cannot quote from a statement that has been disclosed?
Obvious, you'll be asking to be schooled, most if you say that. Yes,
that has
there
been
is.
disclosed to me, but not put it entirely
Yes,
on
Emily,
the record.
there is. That's why they are using it.
Then why is Baloy using it and no one is saying anything?
Now that's where you should be asking. You should be going direct to show that you understand what you are talking about. Ask
I get
them.
it. That's what you go to as the next question to say that.
No, if you ask that, but
why is Baloy allowed?
you are gonna be
Why
clobbered.
is the state allowed to quote from statements of witnesses that don't even show up in court?
We are going to be clobbered if you ask for that. In fact, Baloy is gonna answer you. Why are you even short-sighting yourself by saying, is there any law? You know there is a law. If the judge says you didn't object, but my lord, you are helping them right here.
So Gininda then said, yes, it still stands, but he's in the same boat with Tumelo Madlala and the people who are in the house, and none of them possess a firearm. So they don't have the expertise to profile what is factually correct, and what he said he can rely on is that the ballistic expert at the crime scene said that they found the projectile that belongs to the 9mm. That is why in his statements, when he referred to the revolver, he said purporting to be a revolver in relation to what was contained in the statement, not what was the factual finding, because he was laying the basis of what is contained in the docket. But yes, that still stands, as Mr. Ramasipili said, but there are no expertise there, with the greatest respect to him as well. Now, here he was taking jabs at Ramasipili, saying that he does not have the expertise to identify firearms. So Gininda also has managed to support the witness in their selective amnesia, and is in fact assisting them not to comment on the description of the firearm they saw. And he just expects us to just move on and let it go and let it be the business of the day. I don't know, but that's what it feels like. Ramasipili highlighted that the other occupants of the house, Ms. Gladness Khumalo, Ms. Zandile Khumalo, they did not give the description of a firearm. And Gininda said that that's correct, but they do say that the first suspect was carrying a firearm. So Ramasipili then said that Mtogozi Sitwala also didn't describe the firearm, and Gininda said yes, except to say the intruder had a firearm but not describing it. The presence of the firearm becomes prevalent in the statements. What he cares about is that there was a firearm. What it was, what the witnesses in the house are saying it looked like or it was, he doesn't care about that. What he cares is that there's a firearm. The next phase was going and putting that firearm. And he didn't care what the people in the house had initially described it as. It didn't matter to him. So Ramasipili was now on the runaway phone, the so-called stolen phone, Kelly Khumalo's phone that is said to have been stolen and has lost its signal there by the hostel. Yes.
It has been made a subject of the formula. In this case, this phone. But the funny thing, worse of it, is that the so-called owner, in fact, they should even use such word, so-called owner, because she has not come to court and told this court that I lost the phone.
Yes.
So to even canvass the issue of the cell phone moving, the first question should be, upon your investigation, did you scramble upon the phone when you were going through this guy's houses? Did you get the cell phone that was lost? Is there cell phone that was lost?
They're not asking that question.
Did you find it? Do you have it here in court? That cell phone, the so-called cell phone. Do you have it here in court? Because now the judge is excited about whether it was pointed inside the house. I don't know how you can actually point it inside the house, by the way, except by saying that it was closer to a certain area. And they let the judge do that. And these are the questions they should ask. My lord, you are asking this question. How would you put a cell phone inside the house? Perhaps, my lord, you could clarify that part. And then this is where you see, you are setting a trap, because now he's gonna say the owner says, but you say, my lord, the owner has never been here in this court. Where do you get that?
You're actually smart.
So you trap, like, it just doesn't make sense how these people are going on. I'm not a lawyer. I've never practiced. I've never studied any law.
Wow.
I'm not a lawyer, but man, I mean, seriously.
I feel like
sometimes
maybe Ramasipil is overwhelmed. I mean, look at these essay answers, these paragraphs, these
no,
long
but even
3,000
their
pages.
questions are inviting such nonsensical explanation, a lot of crap, in my opinion. They are. What are you asking the so-called runaway for? And you're accepting that. That court, once you use that word such as that, then you are accepting that there was a phone that was taken away from them in that court. And haven't they learned that since this court started?
It sounds like you're not happy with Ramasipili today.
No, haven't they learned that though? Since they started, that anything that they say, it becomes that thing.
No, they haven't.
Now this is time they debunk everything. Push the states to cold cane. The state is using some affidavits selectively, and you are allowing them to do that. It's your fault. You are allowing them to do that because you ran with that narrative also.
Well, Ramasipili asked what Gininda meant by saying the phone lost signal at Vosloorus hostel, because his assumption was that there were several hostels in Vosloorus. Gininda said that the phone lost signal at Muleleki Tower and is close to Basutung hostel, which it covers. He said that in his interaction with the expert, Colonel Steyn, because they had to do a site visit, they went to that tower and they saw that tower can cover Basutung hostel. Allegations are saying that that is where the planning was done.
We have gone past the issue of whether there was a phone or not. We are now asking about the phone, the towers, the movement of that so-called phone.
Now he was referring to Zungu's statement, and that is where the perpetrators met after the incident. Ramasipili said that Pinky Faintilengem said Basutung hostel is covered by towers. Those towers are 4. It's Vosloorus Tower, Vosloorus Square Tower, Clinics Tower, and Bupang Khotso Tower. She did not count Muleleki Tower. And Gininda said that, like I said, I do not have expertise. What I was relying on is that the expert is informing me of that in terms of where the tower was situated and the distance to the hostel. It is possible to cover it. That is the explanation that he says he got from Colonel Steyn. Colonel Steyn, who's not an expert on towers, by the way. What was not given to me, he said, was not to say these on that specific day. These other towers were not active, or this tower was not the only one that was active. That information was not given to me because I do not know. It depends as to which tower. was involved. He said, like I said,
You see,
maybe
the
this
defense-
is the area that
the
one should
defense did-
venture into.
The defense, that's, you see, is bullshitting them. But the defense, why did you say that? Why is he even saying that? The defense should have done their homework. Was there a Muleleke tower at the time? Simple as that. It could have solved a lot of things. You know, it could have solved a lot of things.
They still have time.
You know, was there a Muleleke tower? Yes or no? And before you even go deeper as to what was switch on and switch off, you know, and number two, since you have entered to that direction of saying, okay, you were asking about what we call it, a cell phone number. You were asking about the movement of a cell phone number through the towers. In your own admission, you are saying there was a conversation between accused number 3 and Kaylee. That's what you are saying, right? And I hope Nisi is going to get this one right. You are saying there was a conversation between Kaylee and accused number 3. Let's say you bring that thing. Let's say, for argument's sake, you bring that thing. According to the so-called confession, they were as much as closer to that house when there was that call, right?
Yes.
So they must show us from section 205 first. When was that call made? And how was it made? What is the connection? What was the tower? And that tower, it must be the same tower if towers are anything to go by as something that can actually tell you whether people were together or not. It must be the same tower as the towers of the people who were in the house. Once you bring that accused number 3's so-called connection, I don't care whether it's internet or it's WhatsApp that was not existing at the time, but still section 205 should have shown the GPS of that, GPRS of that. So that's very important. Show us. So don't show us there was a conversation according to state. We understand that. So what is section 205 saying about that conversation? You taught us that that's the case, that's a procedure. Let us continue with that procedure. Don't just be satisfied. Oh, I got it. Oh, it comes from the hot pot and it's there. Just follow up. Wake up.
Well, Gininda continued to say that in their discussion, the other towers were not part of that discussion, only the last one where the signal was lost. It was the focus of the last tower where the phone went off. So the judge asked who this expert that Gininda was talking about is, and Gininda said it was Ken Stein. So the judge also continued to ask and said, because Mr. Ramasipeli is referring to Pinky's evidence and you are talking of a different expert, Ramasipeli said that his understanding is that both experts did separate duties. Stein did the downloads and analysis of the cell phones, made the linkages, and Pinky spoke about the movement of cell phones, the calls made and received, and SMSs and the towers that were pinned. Now, the question here I have is, did Gininda even familiarize himself with the evidence from the Vodacom expert at all, the direct section 205, or was he completely relying on Stein's evidence? It was just the one that he can base his support with only. Because for me, he's referencing Stein's evidence a little too much.
That was the point. That's why Stein was brought.
So Ramasipeli said that he is interested to know where Muleleke Tower is in respect to Basutung Hostel, and he asked if Ms. Vaintillingham can come and direct them at a later stage.
Where is that going to help you? Where is it going to benefit you? Let's say he goes there and show you, oh, here's a Mlelekish tower. And then you find out this tower did not exist at the time. Where is that going to help you?
I know. Mr. Anonymous is very...
Honestly, some of these questions, we must question them. Where is that going to help you? Okay, they point you, they show you, then you find out it's closer to Basutung Hostel. Then
And then what?
you accept the theory that it went there. Pella, some of these questions, like I'm accepting on the basis, I will accept if the tower is closer to Basutung. Is that what you want to see?
And then how would that help your client, Mr. Ramasipile? Then the judge said that it was critical for the court, or what was critical for the court was to establish whether there was a phone in the house where the two alleged intruders entered, not where it landed.
How is that going to be achieved?
Whether they got in the house.
How is that going to be achieved? Okay, let's say there was a phone in the house in a theory, judge. Let's say, please clarify to me, my lord. Say there was in the house. There was a cell phone, and then?
Now, my question is why? Why are they not using the section 205s to
No. Let's say there was a cell phone in the house. Let's say Kelly's phone was there. My lord, you are saying you want to establish that if there was a cell phone in the house or not. Let's say it was there.
And then what?
And then what?
There. So if it was there...
And it grew legs. It disappeared closer to the certain tower, and then what? How is that going to help you, my lord?
Taken by the accused.
Is that what you are insinuating? That now, because of that, then the cell phone was taken by the accused?
Yes, that's where this is going.
That's a stupid reasoning. Very stupid reasoning.
Well, yeah. I hear you. I completely hear you.
Like some of these things, the judge seems as if he's trying to make it look good, make it shine. Let's just polish it a bit.
Now, also, I don't know if it's just me, but it seemed as though the judge was distracting Ramasipile from confirming whether the cell phone made it to the hostel or not, because that's where Ramasipile, I felt, wanted to go. I don't know. I could be wrong. But it seems like this...
I will ask you this question again. How can a cell phone tell you that I met Basutu? How can a tower tell you that, oh, this person is at Basutu?
Well, not necessarily a tower can tell you that. Not necessarily a tower. No. But then Ramasipile continued to say that it was of absolute importance, and he said that he will tell the court why. Then the judge said that he can argue that at a later stage. Ramasipile returned to the picture of the transparent plastic bag with lots of money in it that was found on Kelly's phone, accused number 3, and Longwa's phone. So Ramasipile said that his recollection of what he was asking Brigadier Gininda about on Friday is that the source of the picture found in the phones of complete strangers was not established. So Gininda said that on the 16th of June 2020, accused number 2 was arrested for the Nongoma case. And on the 19th of June, he made a confession statement. And this is the first time that accused number 3's name came up. And on the 24th of June 2020, another confession statement was made before a magistrate. What is prudent to this date is that they did not have the downloads of accused 3. Upon learning about him, they then tried to find out who he is. They then learned that he was arrested for the Cleveland case, and that's when they learned of the firearm that was used in this case. On the 30th of June, that's when accused number 3 was interviewed by him. Brigadier Gininda said he's the one who interviewed accused number 3, and he was measured by Colonel Mangena. That is before the downloads and analysis was picked up. And the first statement that he said he received from the statement was on the 17th of August 2020 after the downloads were given to them. They then forwarded it to Colonel Stein, who picked up the photo. This is after the interview. As to why they did not go back is because he made certain assertions on how they should engage. And that is why he said he did not want them to venture into that space. Ramasipili moved to the reference of the texts between Kelly and Zandi.
You see, right there,
Gininda's statement.
right there, you dish, you don't eat. You dish, you don't eat.
How did he not eat?
Why did you ask that question then? On the basis of what you got as an answer, why did you ask that question?
You tell us.
A transparent bag. I'm just asking. You are saying, okay, you never had a source of this transparency. In fact, what does a source have to do with this? I know the source might be, for all I know, Google. Did you determine how this was transferred to one phone to another phone? Is there any trace of this money moving from one phone to another phone? In a sense, since now we are making it a physical evidence, how was it moved?
Crickets.
You know why I'm asking this?
Why?
You are saying in Longa's phone, there is a bag. That same bag, you get it in accused number 3. And then you get it from Kelly's
Phone.
Kelly's phone.
And Longwest's phone.
So this phone must
It's a
have
picture.
This phone must have communicated, all 3 of them, somewhere, somehow.
Yes.
And that's where now the downloads should assist us.
By showing if the picture was sent,
Yes.
when it was sent, how it was
And there
sent.
must be a data usage. There must be GPRS. There must be everything there. So you are talking about the picture. How did it fly to these people's phone? How? Okay, it's there. So how did it become a common factor? Because you are saying it's part of the things that you used. So as in your investigation, what did you find? Maybe the issue of asking about the source, maybe that's what he was trying to do. Who was the first holder of the phone? Send it to who? What is it? A chain? How does it go from 1 to 2nd to 3rd?
Well, Ramasipili moved to the reference of the text between Kelly and Zandi on Gininda's statement. And Ramasipili said, now you say in your statement that it is clear during Kelly Khumalo and Zandi's communication that she regretted not getting rid of him in 2013, as she outs it clearly on the WhatsApp messages. It is abundantly clear that she hated him and she wanted to get rid of him. She regrets not succeeding to get rid of him, taking into account all these fights. An inference can be drawn that she meant killing him. Well, Ramasipili went to Stain's download to read all these SMSs that were sent by Kelly Khumalo on the 11th of October 2013 to Zandi Khumalo. Ramasipili said that if we go to the text message, it says, and I quote, Senzo's mom is talking to every radio station in Durban telling how it will be my fault if she has a heart attack. Can you believe this woman? Okay, I'm trying to put it in Kelly's voice, but Senzo's mom is talking to every radio station in Durban telling how it will be my fault if she has a heart attack. Can you believe this woman? Gininda placed the date. It was the 11th of October 2013. The time was 9:43:59 a.m. So it was in the morning. The next message was sent and it said, I regret everything. I wish I didn't allow Senzo into my life. Look at all this mess.
Well, you shouldn't have used his twin brother. That's simple.
Look at all this mess it has gotten us into. It's all his lies now affecting all of us. End quote. Gininda said the date was the 11th of October 2013, 9:46:44. The next one, it read, no, Sisi, it makes matters worse for me because I'm just seen as a person who's wrecking Senzo's family. Time is 9:50:02. Gininda continued to read, "No, it won't. It will just mean that I went through all this for nothing. But I think he is going to leave because he isn't shit, scared of his mother. I wish I was not pregnant. I was going to let him go." 9:53:31. Gininda apologized to the judge for reading the swearing word, the shit word. Aw, how cute. Gininda continued to read, "I wish God would tell me why." 9:58:31. Then the next one read, "Senzo is not strong enough for all this though. I feel like standing alone." The time was 10:06:44. Gininda continued to read another SMS. "He's panicking. Remember, this is his first big and bad publicity, so he's worried about his entire family." The time was 10:12:15 a.m. "What's worse is that his family's not schooled on how to deal with media. Bapha Panji, especially his mother, who wants to be famous at my expense." Kelly was mad disrespectful at around this time. In fact, I think this attitude has not pretty much gone away. It's just has matured with age. But back then, Hashem, to take it this far, in an SMS speaking about the men who you say you love, their mother, like this, just because they went to a radio interview speaking about how they did not approve of the relationship you had with their son, who was married at the time. Mama was fighting for her daughter-in-law. She took a daughter from another family into her family and said, "I will take care of this daughter." And then his son decides to cheat. She has no control of that. But if the journalist came in and said, "What is going on?" Because at the time it was a hot topic. It was trending before we knew what trending was for some of us. Okay, we read about it in the magazines, it was all over. So the journalist wanted to know from the closer source as to what is happening. And Senzo's mother was not willing to just suffer in silence and be bullied. She expressed herself over there at the radio stations, and Kelly didn't like it. She interpreted this as Senzo's mother wanting to be famous at her expense. Well, Gininda expressed his discomfort with what he was reading, saying that it's insulting. Gininda then continued to read, "I don't know what he wants to do. He can go if he wants to." Did he have a choice of going? That is the question I have at the back of my mind, but that's a question for another day. He continued to read, "I have given him a choice to leave, and I told him I never want him to choose between me and his family." Another one said, "Lol, I just want this whole..." He said there was a swear word. He didn't want to tell us what the swear word was, "to end. I just want this whole, maybe it's a thing, maybe it's ish, maybe it's shit, to end." Now on the 31st of December 2013, Kelly was sending more SMSs to Zandi. The other ones read, "I'm emotionally drained. I sometimes feel that Senzo brought a dark cloud in my life, and I can almost hate myself for not succeeding in getting rid of him via SMS, and the SMS would not go." So here she was literally saying, maybe implying that she had tried to break up with him with an SMS and the SMS didn't go through. "I feel like God is deliberately sabotaging me by keeping this man in my life. Oh yeah, I can't wait for the day he is no longer in my heart. All I can do is hope and pray that each day I'm getting closer to my day of being free from him." Well, Ramasipili said, "You said in your statement, taking all this into account, the inference is that she meant killing him." Well, To me, these SMSs are not saying that she wanted him or wanted to kill him.
That's why it was important for Ramusipiri to actually lay the basis for this kind of assertion. When you say get rid of him, in what way, according to you?
According to you.
So that then we go through these SMSs and we try to make sense with you as to where did you feel that this is now the point where Kelly wanted to kill Senzo. Where in, according to because that's what he wanted to ask. He wanted to ask, with this bunch of SMSs that we see here, is that how you reach your conclusion? And then Gininda says there are others. Now, this is where now you say, the first question that you should have asked before you even go to read the SMSs is, get rid of him in what way according to you? Okay, killing, all right. Now, let us go through your SMS, these SMSs, and see where maybe to you it suggested that there was a killing that needed to happen. When he says they are not here, then this is where you probe. But you brought this one as evidence. Why would you not bring something that points you to the direction of someone insinuating killing? Why are you bringing this rakas here that does not have merit and then say others are somewhere? We want those ones that are saying, I want to kill Senzo.
Where are those
Where
ones?
are those? We want those ones that are saying, I'm hiring Kabis to kill Senzo.
Or you'll find him at my house.
You know,
or you'll find him at our place of residence at this time.
Since you are this investigator that seems to find things, please go find those ones. Because these ones, to me, as I sit here, and I don't know, my Lord, perhaps my Lord is having a different view, but these ones, as I sit here, there's nothing that is being suggested here except that a girlfriend wanted to dump a boyfriend. And I cannot take it any further, in my opinion. And then hear what it's going to say. Guys, just like the video. Please, just like the video.
She was, what is it? Pouring her heart to Zandi. That's what this is about. It's a sisterhood type of thing. She may have woken up and did the exact opposite, because in Dabazom Jolo, Vele, you will never confirm. They will always say, hi, Chomi, I want to leave him. But tomorrow, they are all lovey-dovey with the person they said they wanted to leave, and then you are left with egg in your face, and you're like, oh, Chomi, can't they?
Yes, can do.
Well, Ramusipili read where Gininda said that he was charging Kelly Khumalo for the conspiracy to commit murder and murder. Gininda confirmed that he then completed the J50 form. Ramusipili said you did not execute the warrant of arrest because this was a procedural-driven investigation. And Gininda said that's correct. Context is that prior to the accused being inducted, I wanted her to be charged, but it was clear from the prosecution that further investigation needed to be done, and that ultimately led to this statement and disclosing that this is the investigation that we have done. So in essence, my duty was to investigate and then make an application. So in my opinion, I felt like he was defending the NPA, saying that it was not a refusal per se, that she should not be charged. He was saying that the NPA did not necessarily say no to her getting arrested, which I found it very odd. Then what made you not arrest her?
You can probably almost assume that after such conversation of investigation led through the NPA, then there was a bit of talking to say that, you see what you are doing, it's damaging us, in my opinion. And then after that, you come back to defend in the very same court. And the defense should not allow such things.
Ramasipili now went to Warrant Officer Makubo's statement, which was commissioned by Joyce Buthelezi on the 22nd of January 2019. Baloyi said that before Ramasipili used the statement, it needs to be proven first through the person who made it. It would appear that his learned friend wanted to place the entire statement on record without having followed that process. Gininda is not the one who commissioned the statement or cannot vouch for the correctness of the statement put to him. There's nothing wrong with putting certain portions of the statement to him for comment. Ramasipili said that Warrant Officer Makubo will be called at a later stage, and the judge said that Ramasipili should have cross-examined. He can't wait on another counsel for them to call the witness, because Ramasipili said that Mgomezulu is actually the one who's going to be calling Warrant Officer Makubo. So I feel like Ramasipili should have just taken out portions that he needed to make, or maybe it's a good thing that he didn't, because now listening to Mr. Anonymous bashing him like this, yeah, it is what it is. It was good for him to let it go, peace of mind. But then again, here's that thing that is coming now to me that I initially used to get frustrated by with Ramasipili, is that fighting spirit. Your client's life is on the line. Fight for your client. But I'm not feeling that fighting spirit. Where is it? Ramasipili then said, with Mangena, it was there, the fighting spirit. I need it back. Because it's like now, you're not organized. Everything is just... Oh well. Ramasipili then said, my instructions are very clear from accused number 2, is that he was not there during the commissioning of this offense. The questions I'm going to ask you come from a cross-examiner, not from Mr. Ntanzi. And Gininda said that he understood. One of the reasons you said you believe there were intruders, you said according to the witness statements, a phone belonging to Kelly Khumalo was taken. Gininda said, yes, witness statements said that I cannot recall the manner in which I put it, but there were allegations that there were people that entered the house. Ramasipili asked, would you have any knowledge on who had the phone at Muleleki? And Gininda said in the docket, it states accused 2 said in his confession that accused 3 took the phone. What I said was before the incident, this phone was on the same tower, but by the house, and after the incident, it took a different direction from the tower, which located the people inside the house. Furthermore, when I explained my reasons why I concluded that there were intruders, I said this phone was in the same tower as the others before the shooting. And after the shooting, the people in the house went to clinics, but that phone goes to a different direction. So Ramasipili then asked him, did you personally interview Kelly Khumalo? Gininda said he didn't. And he said that I explained the first part was to establish whether there were intruders or not. And that was not through the analysis of the that was through the analysis of the docket. This was to draw up an investigation plan. I did not interview anyone at that stage because I did not want to be influenced by what would they say or what they would say. If there was any evidence suggesting that there were no intruders, I can tell this court with certainty that we would have investigated that way. Otherwise it would be breaking the law. So Gininda said that if there was any evidence in the docket indicating that there were no intruders inside the house, they were going to pursue that. And yet you did not pursue Mr. Hlophe's assertions about Tumelo calling him. You did not pursue a lot of things, Brigadier Gininda. You did not. So Ramasipili asked about one of the neighbors, Nompilo Maningwani Sangweni, statement which was commissioned in January 2015. So Gininda recognized the statement, and he even confirmed that it was a lady who was a traditional doctor who lived not far from the Khumalo house. And Ramasipili stated the contents of that statement. It said that before Kelly left, she said criminals went inside the house and pretended as if they wanted her cell phone, but she was surprised because they did not take the phone. They only killed Senzo. She found the phone next to the door after they had left. This is what was purported to Miss Sangweni. So Baloyi then objected, calling it double hearsay evidence. The judge asked if he was going to call the lady. Then Ramasepeli said he's not sure whether she's still alive. He said he will find out from the brigadier. If she's still available, then he will tell the court after that short adjournment. How can he not have prepared this witness in advance? Can't they? How does it work, guys? I'm so conflicted. Why does he need approval from Brigadier Gininda in order to call this person who's a witness? Can't he just go and call the witness? Why does he have to go through the investigating officer first? How does this thing work, can't he?
Look, at this point in time, what mattered to me is that he should have said yes. The rest, even if you are not prepared, just think on your toes. But
then why do you have to ask Brigadier Gininda for permission to call this particular? Why can't you just call the particular witness? I don't understand.
As it is alleged that this person had a bad encounter with the police.
Is it the same Sangoma?
Isn't it the same Sangoma?
There's a Sangoma that in the documentary they were talking about. Mzilekazi was saying that they got beaten up on that week of the incident. They got beaten up because they had placed a statement that said that
I guess that is the one then.
Came for a cleansing.
That is the one.
Well, Ramasepeli asked about how the name of accused number 3 came up through the confession of accused number 2, Bongani Ntanzi's Carlos Buthelezi. Gininda said that prior to that, their focus was on accused 1 and 2. Through the investigation, they established that Carlos Buthelezi was accused number 3. Ramasepeli said you also mentioned the DNA in respect of people inside the house, and that report excluded them. Gininda said yes, he remembers that. Ramasepeli said, what about the accused before court? Does the DNA link them? And Gininda said that my answer would say when you read the report, it excluded all of the accused. However, you must read it in its entirety. It does not include some, but not sufficient. It was not a conclusive finding. When they say a person is fasting, even Mnisi was laughing in shock. In disbelief, in my opinion, because honestly, this is hilarious. This is hilarious. Gininda then said, and that would collaborate because accused number 5 was standing outside in terms of their investigation. The bottom line is the DNA expert, Ramasepeli is now emphasizing, the DNA expert excluded all the accused. All 5 of them were excluded. And it's not up to you, Brigadier Gininda, to interpret. He went through all the markers. Then Gininda said that's not how an investigation is done. If one says one cannot identify the perpetrators, it does not mean a crime was not committed. I would have asked him, are you a DNA expert, sir? That DNA is not a match. It does not matter how much you explain and over-explain. It will not match. And you cannot make it match.
Let's try to put logic in this. Accused number 1 is excluded 100%. The thing say that?
Yes, 100%.
And then accused number 2, 100%. Accused number 5, 100%. And according to a confession of accused number 2, the so-called confession, they were outside, those people. Now, since you have touched on the issue of people who were in the house as people who have, let's say, 2%, as you mentioned it. So what? They were all touching this hat. They all held this hat. So they went in a room holding this hat. Is that your investigation, Mr. Gininda? That 3 of these people, these are not 3 hats. This is one hat that was worn by one person. What are you saying? Are you saying they were holding this head? How do you explain this? Let's say we take your theory for argument's sake. How do you then explain this DNA spreading around these three people? What are you trying to say? That they were holding this head, all of them, they touched the head. Is that what you're saying? Just because they were inside the house? Is that how we do investigations in South Africa? Where, hey, this is crazy. This is DNA we're talking about. We're not talking about shadows of these people being inside the house and coming out. We're talking about the DNA, something that is in your body. You need to have touched that thing.
I'm defeated.
And a whole investigator
I don't even have the energy
is reasoning
for this.
like this. This is the reasoning that we are subjected to when we are arrested. That because there might be common traits in that DNA, as we are all Africans, and that you know what pisses me off? The person who gave evidence even explained that part, saying there are few things that might be common.
Yes, because
we are all
from the southern Sub-Saharan Africa.
Yes.
So some of the strands will be a match because of that.
Yes.
Or from the same environment.
But
and
he
which
excluded.
Makes sense. Which makes sense. I mean, we are the Bantu tribe. The Bantu tribe, there's some commonalities there in DNA in terms of.
Yes.
So how can you now take that and want to force it to be a match? How come a whole investigating officer is delulu about the fact that with DNA it's either a match or it's not a match?
The whole subsequently and whatnot,
99.9
moreover and whatnot, the whole person who speaks. But you speak English does not mean.
No,
I'm not gonna say anything. But honestly speaking,
it's true.
Is that your reasoning? Like, is that how you?
English is a language.
Is that how you reason?
It's just
like
a language. It's not a measure of
intelligence. Okay, we were inside the house. We are inside the house now, Emil. You are wearing something in your head. I haven't touched that thing. So my DNA being in that those JBL headsets, then therefore.
And then on top of everything else, I'm thinking they said that the intruders came via the door. They opened the door. Scuffles were happening.
They said they couldn't find
They said one of them even chased Kelly Khumalo to the bedroom door, and Kelly locked herself in the bedroom, and they touched the door, right?
Yeah.
And still,
we're not taking it even further. Pella, we're talking about Senzo having a scuffle with one of their accused, and there is no DNA that is under the nails and whatnot. Nothing.
Well, Ramasipili said that it's not your opinion, but that of the DNA expert. And Gininda said, I'm not saying the expert was wrong. Of course he wasn't wrong. If you look above that, I recall it was mixed DNA. The donor of the second DNA was not found. He indicated certain markers which could not make him a conclusive finding.
God. Jesus.
You know, as he was busy saying this and trying to force this, I could somehow see how Mangena's ballistic test moved from being inconclusive to finally being a match.
You understand?
Now I could see the vision of what was happening with Mangena. So imagine if the same captain who testified under this DNA was under that or subjected to that kind of pressure, where the initial results he presented, he was now went and told to go and test them again. Can you imagine? But unfortunately, with DNA, you cannot force things. It's either a match or it doesn't match. There's nothing you can do. So Gininda then said if Longwe was the shooter, you'd see the phone which was stolen moving the same direction. And that's the essence of that submission. Now, remember the car tracker shows that Longwe moved from the scene to clinics where Meyiwa was taken. This is Gininda now. And Ramasipili moved now to the identikits. The judge asked Gininda why he kept calling that phone the runaway phone. And Gininda said that it's the phone that belonged to Kelly Khumalo. on the 072 number. The judge asked Gininda if there is forensic evidence that the phone was inside the house at 8 o'clock.
Imagine such stupidity.
And Gininda said there was.
It doesn't end.
It places her with another people, or with other people that were in the house.
Where does it place them? Where does it place them, Gininda? Does it place them on the tower or place them on the house? In that house? Is that your evidence? That's your forensic evidence.
Well, the judge said, I hear you. I'm
it's
like,
now where we have moved away from within the vaccine, the proximity. We are now
on the towers.
We are now inside the house. How are they going to determine that?
The tower is inside the house.
Jesus.
Kusele kancane for us to be told that the towers are inside the house. So Ramasipili asked what appeared under Ntansi's hoodie, and Gininda said that he cannot really say whether it's dreadlocks or not on the identikit. Ramasipili said, you said on the 18th of June 2020 at Carltonville at Sibanye when you interrogated accused number 2 with his ID kit, and you told him that the person depicted had a resemblance to him. And Gininda said when he did the profiling, one of the witnesses, Mr. Makaleni, said that the one of the suspects looked 25.
I lost it. This is where I lost this case. This is where I lost it. This is where I lost my marble, because this Mr. Makaleni was brought in through a back door. This is someone who has since passed away.
Yes.
The evidence
and
now.
he passed away not so long after speaking to Steenkamp, allegedly. So Makaleni could look at someone and determine their exact age, which was 25. And when you look at accused number 2's IDs, what Brigadier Gininda was saying, and you take it back to 2014,
Imagine
he was exactly 25. He also mentioned the measurements and the kind of hoodie he was wearing. Mr. Zungu also said that the hostile accused number 2 was wearing a black hoodie. He said, my recollection is that the height given, Mr. Makaleni said it was about 1.8 meters. And although he doesn't recall Mr. Mangena's measurements, but he did measure him. Ramasipili reminded Gininda that he read him portions of Makaleni's statement. However, Mr. Makaleni is deceased. So there are issues with hearsay evidence.
Steenkamp's evidence.
He read Steenkamp. That's where Nayanung, I was like, but Haibo, Kanti. I was getting confused now because I'm thinking to myself, when did Ramasipili ever introduce Mr. Makaleni's?
I want the case. You must sit down and analyze it when it's done. And more love, no hate. I just feel like sometimes he digs his own grave. 6 feet under, and he wants to take himself out. When you are digging and you are within that hole, it's gonna be harder to dig yourself up. You are bringing evidence, and you know for sure that evidence has a potential, because I would assume he knew, because he kept on cautioning.
Yes.
Why did you even entertain and even traverse that direction?
And it's even surprising that he let him go on. And the minute he mentioned Makaleni, should have said, no.
You see that you are talking about the River Steenkamp.
Yes. About Mr. Makaleni, he's deceased. It's hearsay evidence. He should have been the one to do it, because
you see, you are talking about Steenkamp, and the person start embedding the evidence of Makaleni, the original evidence.
No.
And you let him finish.
You cannot go. Let him finish. Like, I was like, no, you cannot let him go on and on, wobble like this.
This is where you say,
Mr. Makaleni is deceased. You cannot bring the evidence of Mr. Makaleni.
And then they stand up and object and say, but you no, I did not. I talked about
Steenkamp's evidence. I did not talk about Mr. Makaleni. So now
it must be the answer must be confined to that, my lord. I cannot allow the evidence of a deceased.
Well, Advocate Baloyi raised the point of soliciting hearsay evidence in relation to Makaleni's statement. He said it becomes admissible.
Look, he's jumping straight to Makaleni's evidence, not
while
Steenkamp's evidence.
Ramasipili was using Steenkamp's evidence. So he said once you put on record, you are saying it's not in dispute. You consciously put hearsay evidence on record.
Imagine that reasoning.
You cannot later complain that it cannot be admitted. That is what my learned friend did. Well, I was like, yo, hangek.
Rob versus Hepworth, gone.
Gone out of the window. Gone out of the window. And I'm
and it was
also
not a
mad.
mistake that Ramsipi made. He did not make that mistake.
No, he did not make that mistake
You
at
see,
all.
the problem I have with him is allowing them to speak as if he made that mistake. I have a problem with that. As a man, stand up and say, man, I did not say that.
I did not say that. Stop putting and casting aspersions on me. I did not say that. I did not use Mr. Makaleni's statement. I did not invite Mr. Makaleni's evidence as a deceased person.
George. How can you differ with Brad
He
George?
wants to be cordial and everything else, but I am limaza lento, hey, because now I was thinking to myself, perhaps Ramasipil is afraid.
And then you see what he does after that. What made me I wanted to stop. He goes on to go to the statement now. After making that, opening that can of web, now he goes direct now to the statement to ask the next question about the gold and whatnot.
The gold tooth and the... Yeah, he can tell this court that it's his intention to call Warrant Officer Amandia Steenkamp in his defense. This is what Ramasipil was saying. And the judge said that Baloyi was talking about a legal principle, soliciting hearsay evidence. Ramasipil said that he is aware that if he solicits hearsay evidence, it is then admissible. Did Ramasipil solicit hearsay evidence though? Because he wanted to know how
he did.
They came to the conclusion of that identity depicted as Ntanzi, not Makaleni's statement. He did not introduce it. So now he's been put with this responsibility of soliciting hearsay evidence. So Ramasipile explained what the purpose of asking about Makaleni's statement was. And I'm like, but when did you ask about Makaleni's statement? I mean, Ramasipile, what's going on? He asked him whether Makaleni was one of the people that were inside the house or whether they were just passing the street. The people in the house could not describe the features, length, height to Mr. Steenkamp. The features came from Makaleni, who was among the people who were in the house. And that was the purpose. He said he was reading it from Exhibit J. So Gininda then said Makaleni's statement says he was passing and saw people standing outside the house.
Please stop there. Don't give me Makaleni's statement. I'm talking about Steenkamp.
As he was coming from the shop, he saw the people that was running from the opposite direction. Yes. Of all the people that were alive, I know, guys.
He's the only person who saw this Ndanzi guy. Is gone.
All the people that were alive, that are still alive, that could be able to come to court and testify, Brigadier Gininda decides to use the person who's deceased to strengthen his case.
I agree he's dealing with facts, and I'll show you how facts sometimes are one-sided.
So Gininda said that is why the investigators focused on Mr. Makaleni or Makaleni's statement, and they ignored the one of Mr. Hlophe, who is still alive, by the way. The judge now wanted to know of the person who said that they saw the people at the garage. Gininda said that it was the same person, Makaleni.
You see what the judge is doing here? Dragging that evidence of Makaleni to the action. He started before they went to the break. Who talked about the garage? And
So after the long adjournment, now it was explained because the judge was now asking about the mini electricity substation, or what the power station gas station was, and they were explaining to him that it's a mini electricity mini station. And then Ramasipili continued to talk about the events of June 18 when he showed Danzi the identity kit.
When they're talking about those two boys, right, that were said they hate or something like that. Yes, that's part of Makaleni guy, right?
Yes, it is. Yes. His evidence.
Exactly. See, now the gas is bringing that they wanted to say the power station, right? Yeah. So you are seeing these people at night. At night.
They're seeing gold teeth.
They're seeing gold teeth with an Apollo light.
With an Apollo light. It's not dark, but it's also not bright either. A gold teeth.
You are able to watch them with eyesight. The guns that you said they carry. You were able to see them. Usekasi. Owana mutu tswere sithunyo. And when
opposite direction.
Wamusheba very straight. You can even ID.
In the eyes.
You can even see the teeth.
Yes.
When they laugh, or I don't know whether they were laughing or they were talking.
You saw everything to an extent that you even compiled the identity kit for suspect B. When all the people in the house, the ones who were scuffling, could not.
Where I come from. Not where I come from, where I used to go to school. If you bona mutu atore sithunyo go skawini ava ujafat
and if you're more crowded,
you won't even be able to ID that
flat
person.
On the ground, you hide your face. You're like Mudimu, you are praying.
Let us wait. Salah happen. As
for looking who's holding the firearm in the eyes, how dare you? Do you want to die?
These people, I want to go back, Yona. Go back.
Well, Ramasipili now addressed the eliciting of evidence from the state's claim, and he said that he never used Makaleni's statement. The information, he drew it from Warrant Officer Steenkamp's statement. It took him a whole hour, a whole adjournment for him.
No, Senzo, you don't get it. The gas station is not the garage.
It's not. It's a danger box.
They wanted to say the danger box. Yes,
it's that small box by the street. That is a power station for
yes, they're not talking about the garage.
Street.
I know people are confused. The assertion is that they were standing next to that danger box. Yes. That's what they are trying to say.
So it took Ramasipili a whole hour to figure out that actually, no, man. You see what I'm talking about with Gininda being confusing and all of that nonsense. It took him a whole lunch adjournment to figure out, but I did not introduce Makaleni's statement. I was actually talking about Steenkamp's statement. It dawned on him.
But he goes on to make the same mistake that he's trying to run away from.
Gininda said you can't deal with Warrant Officer Steenkamp's statement in isolation of the people she was interviewing. She basically interviewed everyone who was in the house, and she's telling you what they are saying.
Oh, so is that the procedure? They must bring Warrant Officer Makubo. You cannot deal with Warrant Officer Makubo without touching 375. I agree, you must touch. Now they must freely touch 375 willy-nilly. I agree, it's documents of Warrant Officer Makubo in any case. If they bring Joyce, they continue there.
Well, Ramasipili said that except that Makaleni was not present in the house on the 26th of October 2014.
Now you see he's getting into Makaleni's statement.
Gininda then said yes, but his statement is very clear, even on that interview that he saw at the gas station outside at the mini power station. Ramasipili read Steenkamp's statement where he dealt with the fifth witness, Makaleni's interview, where it said he compiled the face of suspect B. He saw 3 unknown males in the vicinity of the gas substation on the cell phones. He saw them again at Kelly's mom's house. Suspect B stood at the gate. He gave the following description. It was an African male, 25 years, 1.80 meters tall, slender built, medium brown complexion, clothing a black hooded top. Witness saw a golden tooth insert in the upper teeth. So hairstyle was dreadlocks, facial hair was a mustache and beard. And the witness saw something in hand that could be a firearm. So witnesses could not describe the rest of the faces. So Makaleni is the only person who gave a description of the second intruder, suspect B. Gininda asked to check for something, and Ramasipili showed him where Ms. Steenkamp wrote that Kelly Khumalo could not identify the second suspect. And then they went through Zandi and Gladness Khumalo as well, saying that they could not identify the second suspect. So Gininda said the essence was that there was a second suspect. She was looking for marks that she would get from them in order to compile an identity kit. They could give her tools or information that will allow her to compile them. Non-existence of the suspect, that is where the referral is very clear that they could give information as far as the second suspect. So the only person who could do that accurately for her was Mr. Makaleni. So Ramasipili,
hence they will resurrect him from
the dead. So Ramasipili said, for the importance of the compilation of the potential intruders, the people in the house could not compile the unique features to identify. And Gininda said, yes, but if you look at their statements, they try to give markers. Ramasipili then said, Makaleni gives 2 features that were never given to those who were in the house, the gold tooth and the dreadlocks. Gininda said he followed up.
They are giving markers to who, Mr. Gininda? To Steenkamp. What is Steenkamp saying? They could not describe. That's another thing. They are giving markers. When you are able now to do what Steenkamp is doing, you are able to see the markers. That's how you got Bontans. Because you could see the markers. I were not. They don't cheat. Way back. Way back.
The identity kit that he sees in his view is that of the person looked like him. It wasn't following what Mr. Makaleni was saying. He said it was based on his observation. So it is because of Gininda's observation that Danzi was told that he is suspect B. And he's not leaving Makaleni out of it. You know, especially the mentioning of the gold tooth. Now, Brigadier Gininda wanted to go to the time they dealt with the dental examination, and Ramasipili said that he was going to go there and reminded him to take the lead, that he's the one taking the lead, not to take the lead, but he's the one taking the lead. He's the one leading him in the cross-examination. Gininda said he does not think that that is accurate. They are here to assist the court. While there was an argument that ensued, and Ramasipili was like, let me do my cross-examination. If you need to elaborate on a point of order because you go off on a tangent, I forget what I was asking you, and you give so many explanations, which is how we ended up at Makaleni's statement. Then Baloyi said that Ramasipili is soliciting evidence from Gininda. We ended up there because of these long explanations. Then Ramasipili said, let us stick to my cross-examination. If you want to elaborate, you ask me. The court has already said that they're not going to block anyone from elaborating. Some of the things escape me because of the lengthy explanations. And he went on to explain why he over-explains to Gininda, talking to Mr. Makaleni's, or talking about Mr. Makaleni's gold tooth in the upper teeth area, and asking Ramasipili to bear with force. Him.
And this is where you stop him. Chief, you are still touching where you are not supposed to touch.
Ramasipili said that accused number 2 instructed him that he has already told this court he was arrested on the 16th of June 2020 by Sergeant Mohane and Mapena. Gininda said he's aware insofar as the Nongoma case. And Ramasipili said on the 17th he was taken to Pretoria North SAPS, and on the 17th of June 2020 accused number 2 was booked out of the cell by Mapena and Mohane, and they took him to the boardroom. He asked why he was cut off, or why he cut off his dreadlocks. He was asked about the presence or absence of the golden tooth that he had. He was asked about the tattoos that he had. Gininda said that he was not there, so it would be difficult for him to respond to that. Ramasipili then said he was also told to take his top off, and he says the person who was doing that interrogation, it was you, Brigadier Gininda. And Gininda denied being in that boardroom or seeing him that day. He said that he would have asked him about this case and taken notes, so there's no way he was there. He denied. And Ramasipili said, you said that you had met him on the 16th. The first opportunity would be to ask him about 636. Why not ask him about 163, which is the Nongoma case, because that was the case for which he was arrested. Gininda said that is what he said. Maybe Ramasipili might have forgotten, but he went on to talk about cold case unit and how Mohane arrested Ntanzi for the Nongoma case. And he said that accused number 1, he did not interrogate him, as well as he was arrested for illegal substances. Well, and then they went on to talk about Mangena, that the fact that he was there. And after the break, how Mangena actually testified initially about Brigadier Gininda being there at the boardroom, and then after the long adjournment, remember you guys, he changed his testimony and said no, he was not there under cross-examination.
I remember.
So Ramasipili was reminding him of that part of evidence, and Gininda still denied being in that boardroom, and he said he would not testify on what Mangena said. So Gininda also confirmed that Dr. Tlokwe established that accused number 2 never had a gold tooth. He couldn't find an incision or proof that he ever had a gold tooth. But Brigadier Gininda still insisted that he was suspect number 2. So regarding Thabiseng's testimony, Thabise Moket's testimony, who said that she saw the 3 guys running towards the park, and was asked about the photographs. So Ramasipili was requesting photographs from the park. Apparently, there's a photo album that has been fully compiled that shows the incident, the place where the incident took place, even the park. There's pictures of the park that were taken, and they were compiled by Sergeant Mlumbi, who was a photographer, and it's in docket 375. Strange enough.
Didn't one of these pictures wasn't used in 636 when a surgeon, I don't know who's this guy who came in, the first responders?
Mtetwa. Wasn't it before the Novo?
Okay.
So Ramasipili also asked to introduce for context. He said, Baloi said that this photograph or photo album was in docket 375. The judge also seemed to have a problem with the photos being introduced and asked if he will introduce him with the witness or the compiler of the photo album. Now the judge was summoning that compiler of the photo album to come to court and testify. Ramasipili said no, and the state provided the photographs after they asked for them, and Baloi said that it was up to him. The judge wanted to know what the law says actually about this whole situation, since the charges are worlds apart. He said that for 636 it's a murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and all of that, and then for 375,
375 guy has not come to talk about this case. The judge believes what Gininda is saying.
Yeah, he's already
eating
picked a
on
side.
his plate.
Yes. And the judge said that they must go now and prepare research. Then they'll come and argue. If they are not willing to do it, then he will make a decision We already have a clue as to what that decision would look like, but we will reserve our comments for now. Then Mshololo said that it was introduced by the state to the defense, reminding the court that actually it was introduced. And in the previous trial, the contents were disclosed to the defense, and the judge asked if it was discovered in this trial. So after Mr. Hlope's statement is mentioned, okay, maybe Mr. Hlope's statement, apparently it was brought in at 636. At the time it was brought up initially before De Novo, it was under 375. Do you guys remember that? It was under 375. Mshololo
Look, it does not matter.
So
what matters
parts
is
of
that
evidence can be introduced.
no evidence needs to be introduced. What was done to Mr. Afro, it never changed. They never changed that. They came with the same evidence of some of it of 375. So there's nothing wrong with Ramsipiri continuing with that line of cross-examining. It's just that he needs to stand firm.
So Brigadier Gininda wanted to close today by answering the question regarding Thabiseng Moketi's evidence. Gininda said Thabiseng's version is corroborated in the confession of Mr. Ramosipili's client, accused number 2. In his own confession, where he said after the first shot was fired, he ran away. This is what the lady outside said, that the first person running away was a tall person. It is corroborated in the confession of accused number 2. In his confession, he further states that he was running out. Accused number 4 ran in. Accused number 3 was still in the house. There are still 2, but ran out. The issue of the dreadlocks is self-explanatory or self-explaining. The 2 suspects, one of them was having dreadlocks. According to the confession of accused number 2, is that he left the second suspect, which is accused number 3, with the dreadlocks in the house, and that person was seen with the second person running after the first suspect after was seen. So there was a collaboration, my lord. Okay. No sense at all.
Okay, let us again. This is what I right-handed. Let us ask this question. Ntabi said, Ntabeleng, right? Thabiseng. He said he did not see long. She did not see long. Sorry. She did not see Mthokozisi. So your collaboration, how did it work that one out? Because Longwe says in his statement, he's the one who ran out first. And yet Yon Tabi is saying, I never saw whether it was Long. I don't know Long, maybe. How did you come to that conclusion that it was these accused, not the people who were in the house? How did you reach that conclusion? They are saying there's no dispute that 2 people came out of that house running. In fact, 3 people came out of that house running, according to evidence of witness Twala. Twala lo Munyelo. Who's this? No, the other Twala.
Mthokozisi
Twala, who was chasing him, right?
And he
so 3 people came out of that house. According to that evidence, 3 people came out of that house. It was the first one who, in fact, the order of how they came out, it matches more with that theory of Thabiseng. Longwe came out first, and then there was Mthokozisi Twala, and there was someone who was chasing Mthokozisi Twala. 2 of those people. That's 2. So how did you come up to that theory that it was these accused sitting here who were running out, yet the people who were in the house are saying they ran out? There is no dispute in that. How did you come to that conclusion? So if we were to take your conclusion into place, then that means there were 6 people that ran out of that house that day. Is that what you are saying? Are you saying that there were 6 people who ran out? That's how you collaborated your story, because it does not make sense. Because your story, as much as you are collaborating it from Thabiseng, it does not cater for people who ran out first in that house.
No, it does not. Baphi Olongwe in his version, where is Mthokozisi jumping the wall or jumping the gate, the small
And
gate?
Mtozi did not dispute that.
Where are they in this?
Look, it's like the likings are not liking, but there's something wrong with that. I don't know. There's something wrong there. You know, there's something wrong with this level of thinking. There is really something wrong.
As he was answering this question, I saw
Confidence. Confidence of answering this question without catering for what happened according to the so-called people who were in the house. It's a waste of money. Yes, indeed. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of taxpayers' money. It just doesn't make sense. No matter how much you try to cook, you will cook until the pot shrinks.
Yeah, but now one thing that we need to cover is Judge Swanepoel. Wabona Judge Swanepoel agamoshanga isikhathi.
That you see,
Judge
people who
Swanepoel
understand law, they don't waste time saying we want forensic inside the house. Was there a cell phone inside? They don't waste time. They listen and they like, here's the answer.
Wabona, now I understand the lawyer that accused number 3's legal counsel felt when she came to court and actually asked to get time to consult. She meant business. And I was thinking, oh, this thing of solitary confinement case is going to take months. It's going to take 3 months because we're used to it. I mean, look at what we're going through with the Senzo Meyiwa Trial.
Mediocre.
So
it's kangaroo court.
Yesterday, judgment done. Accused number 3 ordered to be out.
Accused number 5 because of
not
being
it
was not. In fact, I agree. Accused number 5 seems like it just tagged along as accused number 3 was fighting. He waited and waited. The advocate for accused number 5 did not seem to have an agent in what. So I'm happy with what happened.
None whatsoever.
So now this is the time where I just have to call people's name and go and rest. Chuku Anna, thank you very much for being with us. Sizwe, thank you for being with us. Lindo Guhle, Hadebe, thank you for being with us. Vusi, thank you for being with us. Chuku, okay. Mrs. K, thank you for being with us. Are you still left with something?
No.
Okay. Colin Lovu, thank you for being with us. Mami Funega, thank you for being with us. Laura, thank you for being with us, our member. Sfiso Sindane, thank you for being with us. Nkosnati Zagwe, our member, thank you for being with us. And Sfiso Su is our member, thank you for really sponsoring this channel. Nat, our member, our moderator, thank you for being with us and sponsoring this channel. Dibuo, thank you for being with us. Siba, thank you for being with us. Let's see. Ibello, thank you for being with us, our member. Sizwe, our member also. Itumeleng, thank you for being with us. Let's see. Emily, who are we missing here? Malachi, thank you for being with us. Dokas Shabalala, thank you for being with us. Sibusiso Ndlovu, thank you for being with us. Moonlight 26, thank you for being with us. Vico 345, thank you for being with us. And let's see. Cabello, Lloyd, thank you for being with us. Lady C, thank you for being with us. Just going through. Boot, thank you for being with us. Mamelo Skunana, thank you for being with us. Ndumiso, thank you for being with us. We appreciate you guys. That's why we'll go through this exercise. Mangoba Elmtetwa, thank you for being with us. Ignatia, thank you for being with us. Sibanda Katele, thank you for being with us. God is my savior, thank you for being with us. Colin Dove, thank you. We appreciate you. Just going through this as fast as Farai. James, thank you for being with us. Mushezi, one, thank you for being with us. Yeah, Pella, guys. I'm just finishing up as much as I can. Please like the video, share the video, and do the right thing to it, guys. It is important. It is important. It is important what we go through for you guys. It's a lot. Mlilo, thank you for being with us. Yes.
It's mental gymnastics.
It is.
It causes fatigue of the highest level.
It is. Charity Mbonambi, thank you. Rulani Malulega, thank you. We appreciate you. Siponengu, thank you. We appreciate you. May too, Mhlanga, thank you. Kwelagiti, thank you. Nangelop, thank you. Lindy, Lamini, thank you. Injalo nje. Izandla ziyageza ngani kwethu. Basho njalo ngesiZulu. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate you. I say someone is calling. I mean, I am so late. Otherwise, I'll get fired.
Don't say that. God forbid. We don't want anybody getting fired in this economy. No ways.
Colin Vadival, thank you. Mtogozi Simbata, thank you. If we reach 450 or sponsor members, that's a submission. Let's see if they can. In the meantime, then you guys, okay, let me answer this. A minute, guys. Caller. A minute. Mzansi, hello. Mzansi, yes, sir. How are you?
Disappointed. Yes. Once again.
Yeah.
Excellent work.
Thank you.
I just want to ask just one question, and that is the Defense Council paid by the state as well through the first aid funding or not? If anyone does know.
Legal aid.
They paid by legal aid.
Yes.
What I think is currently happening, the reason for this question is that I find it unlikely for the Defense Council not to be asking the critical questions that us as lame people do realize should be asked in that court. It's now all about money, and if the state has decided that it must protect itself, these lawyers are now under a danger of not getting paid. So they must abide by even the most ridiculous kind of proceedings that we see in that court. How come, apart from all the blunders that Ramusipia might have committed today, including Nisi standing up, requesting for some information, and then let's take it out of this, we discuss it later. You stop the proceeding there and there to say, this is the information that I'm looking for, and it must be given to me now before we proceed. Look at the people that were about to crack this case, which include the likes of Yomgome Zulu. I cannot even talk about Tifo anymore, because what happened to him, we all know that it was well planned and well orchestrated that take him out of this case. It's now about the state protecting itself at all costs, whatever it takes, because the state has made so many blunders on this case. They now far too deep into the blunder that they committed from the first day when this crime was committed. Now the media, social people are interested in this case. They like whatever it takes. We're going to have to protect ourselves. And that is the state doing that. Even the judge, what is it that is a gas station referring to a mini substation? How an Englishman, so-called, makes such a blunder? You know, they don't even know what to do anymore. They getting irritated amongst each other. Go find this law. What is this law? I'm also gonna research it. He's claiming to be a person that is gonna be doing it overnight. I can promise you tomorrow, he can easily come up with 1,000 pages and say, I did it overnight. Here is the case law. I read it. Does everyone know about this case law? They protecting themselves at all costs, because now the only way of solving this case properly is going to 375. The state is not willing to take that risk, because the state is going to be a joke forever. And this has to set some sort of like a precedent for other cases of almost the same nature. How do you cover it up now? Everything that it takes, they're gonna have to protect themselves. And the defense has probably succumbed to say, we defeated. I thought at some point, because it's been going on, there is a lot, it's a series of events telling us that it is building up. I thought at some point they were building up for an appeal or something to that effect, but it has taken a complete different turn. I don't even believe, well, it's alleged that Ngomezulu is sick. Probably he is the one, as it stands, that doesn't get paid by the state anymore. And Baloyi once raised this question very, very early, that how was Ngomezulu going to be paid? Because we don't want to have a problem later on in this case. I was like, why are you concerned how he's going to get paid? Because he's here to defend someone. There was once that argument at some point, even though the integrities of it I cannot outline right away. But there was one that argument that how is he going to get paid? Let's first fix that before he continues with the case. And a few weeks after that, there was a problem that his kids were owing school fees. What's going on now? So are they all told that, hey, and maybe some of them have other cases. We're all human beings, we make mistakes. You remember such cases. We might not pay you, or we might open a case against you. Thus now, maybe they quiet. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you guys for the good work.
Thank you. Hey.
Eval. Guys,
like
thank you very much. Thank you, Sis Kitchen. You'll catch up. And everyone else, thank you guys. Please like the video. Mushiz, Mamelo, and everyone who was down here in Togozo, Pepcorn, and Pedro Ngos, Masha Ngos. Yes, thank you. We love you guys. Say Valanje City.
Ay, siyabonga guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Or today, later, some.